Welcome back to Code with Hafiz, where complex Python concepts become super easy. Today we are entering the real power of encapsulation, not just protected variables, not just private variables, but the real control system behind data security in O. The getters and setters and validations in O. We are going to learn this. And this is the exact concepts used in banking system, hospital data systems and big enterprise apps. If you understand today's lecture, you understand OOP at an advanced level. Let's go. And if you are new on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and like. And if you not watched the earlier videos, these are also uploaded on channels and there is a playlist for the OOP. So follow the channel, check these concepts, then we will continue from that point. Before explaining today's course, remind your viewers, I want to remind already learned topic, the revision of already learned topic. So we learn about public variables. As you see, these are the public variables anyone can access outside the class that directly. So accessible anywhere, no restriction. Then we learn about protected variables. We learn about protected variables. Here as you see, the protected variable is right like this underscore balance. So public variable is using like this with underscore one time with balance. So just a convention, please don't type this directly or don't access this directly. And then we learn about private variables. We learn about private variables, how we can define inside our classes and how we can access directly and indirectly, and how we define the private variables using under underscore salary. This is our private variable. And we learn about name mangling. The Python hide this private variable using name mangling. Let me explain what is name mangling. In Python, when you create a private variable using two underscores, self dot under underscore salary with two underscores, Python automatically renames it internally so that it cannot be accessed accidentally. It becomes harder to modify from outside. It becomes unique for that class. The remaining process is called name mangling. Python change this the name internally so people cannot access it easily. And we learn about how Python change this internally, the private variable. As you see in this example, self dot under underscore salary with two underscore our private variable. So Python internally change this to the underscore imply under underscore salary. Python will add first one underscore before the class name and then the under underscore salary, the private variable. So Python adds the underscore class name in front of private variable. And if you not check the yesterday video, please check it, where we try to run this code and we learn about when we trying to access this variable directly, that time we get an error attribute error. Let's say the imply object has no attribute salary. And then we learn about how to access private variable using name mangling. In this example, print the object of class and then the underscore imply the class name, then the private variable under underscore salary. So we can access private variable using name mangling in this way, because the underscore imply under underscore salary is the actual name Python created. Think of a private variable like a person locker in your house, or you lock it with a key and the lock is hidden inside the locker phone. Name mangling, let me write here, name underscore mangling Python hides the key and says you can access it only if you really know where it's hidden. So Python, the name Mangling, Python hides the key and says you can access it only if you really know where it is hidden. This prevents accidental access, and Python changed the private variable to that using name mangling, and you can still access the private variable using name mangling. So the good practice is to apply use getter and setter instead of name mangling. So we are going to learn in this class the getters and setters. So before going to start the getters and setters in OOP, here question arises why Python uses name mangling. So the name mangling is used in Python OOP to protect internal variables, to avoid variable name conflicts in subclasses, to enforce encapsulation, to discourage direct access. Let me comment this and save my code. So today I am going to create another class inside our class 2. This is the part of class 2, but the part is 3. Click on file, and I am going to create file with name getter and setters.py. So I create a file with getter and setters.py. So here question arises, what are getters and setters? Let me zoom in. So what are getters and setters in OOP? Why do we use them, the getters and setters? So to control how data is accessed, to protect sensitive values, to add validation before updating, or to prevent wrong or harmful modifications. This makes your class secure and maintainable. Don't worry, I will explain you within inside the code. So the getters and setters are help us to control how data is accessed, to protect sensitive values, or to add validation before updating, and to prevent wrong or harmful modification. So let me create a code to explain this getters and setters very easily. So let me create a class with name person. So here on this line we are creating a new class name person. This class will hold name and age and will protect the age variable. So let me create a constructor init method after self name and age. Basically this the constructor method, as we learned in our earlier sessions, the constructor method is a method which runs automatically when an object is created. So in this example it receives two values name and age. So when it receives two values, then self.name equal to name, self.age equal to age, and I want that to make this public variable. This is our public variable, the name. Anyone can access or change it, and I want that the change this age variable to protected, and it is our private variable. And Python internally convert this to the underscore person underscore age. Python internally convert this private variable to this, and if I want to create an object for the class, let's say p1, and person, I will pass Hafiz, and then let's say the age is 24. So I will pass these two values, and if I want to access the age, print p1 dot underscore age, save the code and cd class to python getter and setters. As you see, I am getting an error. Person object has no attribute under underscore age. So why I am not getting directly the private variable? Because this is our private variable. As we learn about the private variable, we cannot access it directly, but we can access it using name mangling. And this is the protection. This protects the variable from the direct access. That's why I am getting error, and we know that this variable exists inside our person class, but we cannot access it directly. Why this? Because this is our private variable. We cannot access directly only using the name mangling. And let me write this how we can access this using name mangling. Print p1 dot underscore our class name is person and underscore our protected variable name is age. And if I print this, run this code, you see I am getting the age of a person of is 24. So this is the way of getting using name mangling. So we see that how to get the private variable using the name mangling, but this is not a recommended approach to remind the class name and then you will access the private variable. So use let me access the private variable with the help of getters and setters. How you can access the private variable easily? Let me clear this, save the code, and above here after def I want to create one method get age, and inside this I want that when this method will call, return self dot underscore age, and this is our getter method. Save the code, and here inside this code you see this method get underscore age returns the private age safely when I call this. Why we use it? The getter method. Why we use getter method? So you control how age is exposed. You can later add logs, formatting and condition. You never reveal private variables directly. Let me call this method p1 dot get underscore age, and if I call this will return something, and I want that print this. So save the code, clear the terminal, and if I run this I am getting 24 using the getter method. So in this way you will access the age variable, the private variable, using the getter method. So let me create the setter method. How you define the setter method? Set age self and then new age. After that, if new underscore age is greater than 0, self dot underscore age becomes new age. And in else part I want that print age cannot be negative. So this is our setter method. Let me write here setter method. So inside this method, as you see, we define a name a method with name set underscore age self, and then we pass the new age value to update the age already exists. So here, as you see, I apply an if condition. If the new age is greater than 0, then you will replace the old age with new age. Otherwise, the age cannot be negative. As you see here in this method, this whole method is responsible to update the private age, but with validation. If new age is positive, update it. If negative, show a warning, don't update. This ensures no one can set the age. Let me call this. As you see here, we create a person object. As we know that the constructor runs when we create an object with name Hafiz and 24 age. So when we call this p1 underscore get age, our get underscore age method is called, which is our getter method, and we are getting the value. Now it's time to call the setter method. So as you see, let me zoom out. So here print p1 dot set underscore age. I want that to pass the age, let's say 28. The age is 28. The older age is 24, the new age is 28. So let me comment this line, only the set age will be returned. So if I run this code, I am getting none. Why I am getting none? Because we are updating the value. Our condition is true, but when condition is true, then this method returns none. So we have to place this outside, we update the age, and then we are going to call our get age here. And if I run my code again, save the code, as you see I am getting the new age 28. And if I pass here, let's say minus 28, as we know that the validation fails. Why? The age is negative, and as we know the age cannot be negative. Data stays safe and unchangeable. Let me run this code again with negative age. Age cannot be negative. I am getting the old age. So this is the beauty of to apply the getters and setters to protect the private variable, and you want to update the private variable value, then you have a validation. If the validation is true, then the private variable will be changed. Otherwise not changed, the older value will be saved, and data stays safe and unchangeable. Using getter and setters, here is the option read who can read the data, who can modify the data, and then what values state, what values are allowed. Let me comment these two lines. So using the getter and setter, this is the advantage: who can read the data and who can modify the data and what values are allowed. So apart from that, we can say how the internal state behaves using the getters and setters. So this is the example of real encapsulation. Protect your data plus provide control access. Now it's time for the assignment. Let me create another class, assignment.py. As usual, when we learn new topics, then we have an assignment at the end of each lecture. So for the today class we have a task: create a car class with private variable underscore speed. Use the getter get underscore speed and apply the setter for the set underscore speed. Only allows speed 0 to 200. So I hope you will do this very easily. If any problem in this task, I will be here to clear your doubts. Please comment it. After that we have a task to create a bank account class with owner public. The owner will be public, the balance will be private, and the methods deposit and withdraw. Validation on the cannot withdraw negative or more than balance. So and the task 3 is very simple. Explain in your own words why do we need getters and setters. Now it's time for the interview questions related with our today topic. What is encapsulation in O? Encapsulation means keeping data variables and methods together and restricting direct access to protect the data. And why do we use private variables? To hide sensitive data and prevent it from being changed from outside the class. Guys, any doubt till now, please comment it and don't forget to subscribe and like, share with your friends to clear your doubts regarding O. Thanks for watching.